Imagine a war beginning in your front yard and ending in your living room. It sounds impossible, but that's exactly what happened to one man during the American Civil War. His name was Wilmer McLean, and history has remembered him as perhaps the unluckiest or luckiest bystander in the entire conflict. In 1861, McLean was living with his family near Manassas, Virginia, where he operated a small farm. At the time, he wanted nothing to do with politics or war. Like most civilians, he simply hoped to live a quiet life and provide for his family. But history had other plans. That July, Union and Confederate armies converged near his property for what became the First Battle of Bull Run, also known as the First Battle of Manassas, the first major battle of the Civil War. McLean's farm suddenly found itself in the middle of the fighting. At one point, a Confederate cannon was reportedly positioned near his house, making it a target for Union artillery. During the battle, an artillery shell crashed into his home, damaging his chimney and convincing him that staying there was no longer an option. Determined to escape the war, McLean packed up his family and moved nearly 120 miles south to the quiet village of Appomattox Courthouse, Virginia. He believed he had finally found peace. Far from the major battlefields, his new home seemed like the perfect place to leave the war behind. For almost 4 years, it was. Then, in the spring of 1865, as the Confederacy collapsed, thousands of soldiers poured into the Appomattox area. Once again, armies surrounded Wilmer McLean's home. On April 9, 1865, Confederate General Robert E. Lee needed a suitable place to meet Union General Ulysses S. Grant to discuss surrender terms. The house they selected belonged to none other than Wilmer McLean. Inside his parlor, the two generals signed the documents that effectively ended the Civil War. When the meeting concluded, Union officers began purchasing, or simply taking, furniture from the room as souvenirs of the historic event. McLean reportedly watched as tables, chairs, and other household items disappeared from his home. Years later, he summed up his remarkable experience with a quote that has become legendary. "The war began in my front yard and ended in my front parlor." While the wording may have been polished over time, it perfectly captures the extraordinary coincidence. Millions of Americans lived through the Civil War, yet only one man had the first major battle erupt outside his home, moved away to escape the fighting, and then unknowingly hosted the meeting that brought the entire war to an end. Sometimes, history doesn't just happen around ordinary people. Sometimes, it follows them wherever they go.